Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to another new episode of Yogaphora Conversations. And today I have an incredibly special guest. And guess where we are? This is one of the best yoga studios in the entire greater area of St. Louis. I'm honored to sit today with a woman whose life has unfolded like a long, miraculous breath, one that begins in pain, awakens in resilience, and rises into purpose. Annie Trachsel. Quanto sei bella. She's so pretty. She's
Aw.
definitely, probably the video will not give justice to the beauty, the outer and inner beauty of Annie.
Thank you. I'm happy
You're welcome.
to be here with you today.
You're welcome. So Annie is the owner and founder of Blue Sky Yoga Studio here in St. Louis. She's a 500-hour registered yoga teacher, a trauma-sensitive guide, a functional movement specialist, and a newly graduated licensed massage therapist from The Gathering Place under the mentorship of Cindy Goodnetter. Big shout out to Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
But Annie's story begins long before her professional achievements. At just 10 years old, after a traumatic injury, a coma lasting 11 days, and months in a body cast, she had to relearn how to walk. Not once, but twice. And it was through movement, breath, and mindful strengthening that she first discovered the medicine her body was searching for. For more than 20 years, Annie has studied the delicate relationships between strength and softness, mobility and stillness, nervous system regulation, and spiritual connection. Her approach blends traditional yoga, sports medicine principles, and conscious emotional healing. As a mother of two wonderful kids, a community builder, a studio owner, a survivor, a teacher, and a seeker, Annie embodies the truth that healing is not a destination, but a devotion. Today we'll talk about trauma, identity, spirituality, functional movement, and the lived wisdom that only comes from rebuilding yourself from inside out. I am Andrea Spadafora, owner of Yogaphora LLC, professional massage therapy and yoga. I'm also an Italian language tutor, interpreter, and translator here in St. Louis. Annie, thank you so much for being here and for bringing all the shades of your blue sky into this wonderful space.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I'm happy to be in our beautiful space.
Absolutely. So. And I cannot be more thankful about your hospitality. Since when I moved to St. Louis, this place has become my wellness sanctuary and one of the greatest spaces to practice the art and science of yoga. So thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
And also your approach is very family oriented. I immediately introduced you to my son,
Yeah.
and you introduced me to your kids. So that's a wonderful, I immediately felt at home as soon as I met you.
Oh, good.
So let's talk about your origin story and childhood resilience. So number one, you were born and raised in St. Louis, right?
I was.
Okay.
Yes, I have been. South City, to be honest, right here.
And and I met your mom, beautiful, wonderful woman. What's your mom's name?
Nancy.
Nancy. Ciao, mama.
Hi, Mom.
So tell me, before you had that accident, what's your earliest memory of your body before the accident and trauma?
That's a wonderful question. The earliest memory of my body before that accident was actually one day with my grandpa fishing over in Illinois in the country. And it was a gorgeous day outside. And there was a blue sky above us. And I just remember I was having fun fishing, but I felt so just comfortable in my body. It was that type of day that I had on jeans and a red sweatshirt. And I wasn't hot or cold, but I remember I took my shoes off and I laid in the grass and I could feel my hands and my feet just touching the grass, and that's the first time I actually thought to myself, oh my gosh, like my body touching the earth. It just felt so at home.
We're talking about when you were like 5, 6, 7 years old? Or?
I was probably about 6 or 7. I don't know exactly, but it was when my grandparents used to watch us when we were kids, and they would take us to do, over in Illinois, a lot of times just go to the country. So yeah, I was probably 6, 7, maybe 8 years old.
Yeah. And I remember when we were so young, even myself, you give health, the bodily health for granted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks, oh, I have this body, but it's just like, I'm just playing with the body. I'm just gonna, enjoy life through this body.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the time where you became more aware of the beauty of, touching and smelling and seeing and enjoying everything, your surroundings, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I don't even know that I gave that particular day I did, because it was so beautiful, and just the grass on my skin and the sky above me, and just that carelessness,
yes,
that lightness that I felt. I remember that. But I can't say that before my accident, I went through life thinking about, oh, I've got this body. I didn't even think about it much. You know what I mean? Except for that day. And I think it was just the beautiful weather and being so happy in that moment.
And then something happened along the way, right?
Yeah.
Right about when you were 11 years old?
It was when I was about 11. Yeah.
So you had was a car accident?
It was a car accident. Yeah.
Which unfortunately, put you in a coma for 11 days, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So do you remember what it felt like to wake up from the coma? If you don't mind answering that.
So I always, I was so ready to just get back to my normal life. When I woke up from the coma, I remember, but I told myself I didn't remember. And I think for a long time I blocked it out, and it wasn't anything terrible. I mean, I know that I saw a light at the end of a tunnel. And it was almost like I was at the bottom of a well, if you can imagine that. Yeah. And that's really the only thing that I remembered. My mom, on the other hand, said that from the external world, what happened with me was my face was like, starting to move, and my lip was quivering, and I was kind of like, making these movements more so than I ever had in the last 11 days. And I just sat up and like cried my eyes out and just cried, and like, I was hooked up to all these whatever.
So you were at the hospital at the time?
Oh yeah, I was at the hospital. And I just sat up crying. And all I know is, from my perspective, what was happening internally is I was just trying to get to this light. I was just trying to get to this light. But as an 11-year-old getting back into school and trying to figure out life again, and I had to wear these orthotic shoes, and I had to do physical therapy, and I had to be homeschooled for a while. And so I just wanted my life to be normal again. So anytime people would ask me about it, I was just like, I don't remember. I remember the light. That's really all I remember.
How they describe it in the movies, by the way. Is that something that...
Really?
Yeah. I mean, most movies describe just like something like that, a light at the end of the tunnel or something like that.
Yeah.
Describing or showing people that just black out and then they come back to life.
Yeah.
So tell me, what did the injury teach you about strength at such a young age?
Well, that I was very weak at that time. I got back, once I got the body cast off, I had to go back to do physical therapy. And I was very weak. In my mind, I didn't feel that weak, but just learning to walk again, with everybody still to this day asks me if I limp. Yes, I limp. I have a leg shorter than the other. So unless I'm wearing my orthotics, I limp. But to answer your question, it taught me that it is a practice. You cannot just go do your physical therapy and then go expect everything to just be strong all the time. Because when you have a discrepancy, like a structural discrepancy, so for me, it was a leg length discrepancy. It is a leg length discrepancy. I can't just walk every day. Like, everybody's like, let's walk. If I walk, that's great. And thankfully I can walk, but I favor one side. If you're leaning toward the right a little bit, those muscles are just naturally going to be stronger. So I've got to constantly, here I am, 51 years of age now. I'm constantly having to strengthen this leg more so than the other, in different ways than the other.
Gotcha. And now with the experience and competence that you acquired over the years, it's easier for you when you have some anatomical competency, right?
Definitely.
But so this happened right before your puberty or adolescence, right? So you went into your teenage with this trauma bearing with you, right? So growing up with limitations, did you ever struggle with feeling less than especially when you went into high school and then college? Was that something that impacted your psyche in a sense?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I could never do a cartwheel. I could
Mhm.
never run. If I ran, I would limp. I would swing my leg around. I had to wear special shoes for a long
Mhm.
time. So one shoe had an outside lift on it, that was about like that. And then even, I kind of was like, okay, I'm not going to wear these anymore. Well, then my back would hurt. Then my hips would hurt.
Yes.
And then I'd have to go back to physical therapy. And then I'd, spend a lot of time, money doing physical therapy. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm good. And then I'd be good for a while. And then, time would go on. And so even when I was in my early 20s, I remember going to an orthotic lab and getting special tennis shoes
Mhm.
that had the soles extended on the outside. But what that would do is, most tennis shoes are they're supportive, but they move with your foot. Well, when
Right.
you go and get those special shoes made,
Yep.
the shoe is heavier. It doesn't bend the way the other ones do. So the way my calf muscles develop, the way I walk just was different.
Mhm.
And so what I've found throughout my life with this is the imbalances that I have felt. So
Right.
great, I might be stronger in my left leg
Mhm.
again. This might be working out great, but now my right leg is always fatigued. My right calf muscle hurts.
Yes.
A lot of the lifts that they started to give me to just insert into the shoe would be in the back of the shoe
Mhm.
only.
Mhm.
So that would make the way my step would be different on the right foot than the left foot. So I've been constantly struggling between this feeling of inadequacy and
Gotcha.
imbalance physically, which, as we know, that carries into our internal self.
100%. Yes.
And
Mhm.
so the fact that I wasn't able to run, let's run a marathon.
What
Let's hike.
about pain? Did you have to deal with pain management, and how did you deal with pain post-traumatic,
Oh,
post-injury?
always, clearly. So pain mentally and emotionally, just not feeling adequate,
Mhm. Mhm.
that, would make me feel a little more emotional and imbalanced.
Mhm.
But how I dealt with it wasn't the best way for a while.
Mhm.
I would go out and, talk to others or cry to others, or sometimes go out and, distract myself. I'd be like, I'm fine. We all, oh, fine, fine. No, I wasn't fine. And it really wasn't until I found yoga
Yes.
that I realized, okay, I am okay in here.
Yes.
I mean, maybe I'm not okay, but I'm going to find my way because I feel this place within myself that
Right.
is stable.
Yes.
And it might not be like all my other friends that are runners or that are,
Uh-huh.
even riding a bike kind of hurts my hips a little bit. I can hike. I love hiking.
Mhm.
And I can walk. I mean, I do all of the things, but yeah, I would say, to answer the question,
Yeah, my question was primarily, when did movement, because you didn't discover yoga until later, right?
oh
When did
yeah,
movement begin to feel like empowerment for you
okay,
to manage the pain,
yeah.
both internal and external?
So it was probably about, gosh, 2001, 2000, something like that.
Mhm.
20, almost 26 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Because what I found was I'd go to yoga, and sometimes I'd find myself in the beginning, I'd be like, it was a very physical class.
Mhm.
And so I'd get lost and I'd discover my pain, and I'd discover one side stronger than the other. And so that kind of tuned me in. But also, when they would just slow us down to breathe,
Mhm.
I would notice my mind wandering to these places that I would feel a little like, wow, okay, I'm safe, I'm supported,
Yes.
I'm here, I'm breathing,
Yes.
it's okay, and so that gave me the strength to then listen. So when I went to other teachers that offered me ways of being in my body and moving at my own pace,
Mhm.
not forcing me to move the way their bodies moved,
Mhm.
or not
Mhm.
forcing me to move the way the person next to me or the pictures in yoga journal look, because my body doesn't do that on one side.
Of course.
But, that's when the movement started to feel like medicine to me,
Okay.
because I learned to trust myself,
Good.
regardless of what the media had out there.
Of course. Do you remember the first yoga class, and where did you take it? Who were your first yoga mentors at the time?
I do. It was at a person's house. He's a local yoga teacher. His name is Bruce Rogers.
Okay.
Yeah, he has his own studio. It's been there for a long time. But he was very alignment cued, which was hard for me because I'm not aligned in certain ways. But I learned a lot from him in the sense of learning what the alignment and the traditional poses are meant to do. But that challenged me even more because in my body, I had to figure out other ways to find that posture and to find the benefits of it, but to refine.
Sure.
So whether it be using a block or putting my foot on a blanket on the short leg, or, when I twist a certain way, hand on a block. When I twist one way, I don't need my right hand on the block, but when I twist another way, left hand on the block. So that was one of my first teachers. Another teacher that had a huge impact on me is Jennifer Miller. She's a physical therapist at WashU.
Interesting.
And she was a yoga teacher. My first yoga teacher that I really fell in love with the practice because she allowed me space to move and breathe the way I needed to, not stay at this pace. You know what I mean? And the other thing about that was it wasn't always the same exact thing. It was a variety. And I have found that my nervous system really liked that. And it helped me listen internally. It helped me really practice active listening.
Yes.
So I'd listen to her cues, but then I'd also have to check myself and make sure that I was listening to myself as well.
Interesting. So in this period of childhood trauma, how did that shape your compassion toward others in pain? Of course, you found in yoga a wonderful healing pathway, right? That's why now you made this beautiful yoga studio to help other people recognize the power, the art, and the science of yoga. So, but specifically your personal experience, how that injury shaped your compassion toward others.
So the short answer of it is I don't ever want people to suffer and feel alone or that there's no other way. Before I found yoga, I went to doctor after doctor after doctor. I had a lot of surgery, several surgeries. And I often felt very alone and sort of like, not hopeless, but just like, I'm going to have to deal with this my whole life, which I do. But I found a way to deal with it that brings me a sense of happiness. And I listen to good music and I meet people and I do something, instead of going to a happy hour and drinking 100%. And sitting there complaining and bitching about how my body doesn't work. I'd rather go and spend a happy hour on my mat and figuring out the ways my body does work. And the limitations that I have, just accepting them and being okay with them,
Wonderful. In fact, one of the things that I tell my students is that, congratulate yourself for showing up to a place that is, you made a healthy choice today out of a gazillion of other unhealthy options you may have had. Right. So, what was your first breakthrough moment on the mat, on the yoga mat? Something that clicked and you said, wow, this is exactly what I needed. This is so empowering for me.
I would say that it was probably a time that we ended up coming into child's pose. Yes. And I could never get my hips back toward my heels. And because the range of motion is very limited in this left hip. And when I decided to put 2 blocks between the backs of my thighs and my heels to find support, and I was able to relax my back, let my forehead come to my stacked hands. There was no tension. So a simple pose like child's pose, but I was able to give myself support with a sense of support between the hips and heels.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How did yoga support your mental health in ways other modalities didn't, right? So some people Of course, everybody seems to have a counselor here in the States, at least according to my perspective as a transplant from Italy.
Right.
And so for me, it was the one-stop shop for all the aspects of my fitness, not only physical, so balance, flexibility, strength, and stamina,
Right.
but absolutely improved my relationships, my sense of being tolerant and forgiving toward others.
Yeah.
So what was your mental health aspect benefit of yoga at the time and now?
Okay, so here's a part I didn't tell you. I didn't really know my dad at the time of the injury. I hadn't talked to my dad for a good 10, 12 years. My mom had a very bad drinking problem.
Oh, okay.
So when I talk about feeling alone, here I am, an adolescent trying to heal. My mom did the best. We all can only do the best we can. And I'm happy to say she's been sober for 18 years.
Hallelujah. Good job, Mama.
Yeah. But at that time, if you can imagine how it must have felt. I didn't have my father around. My mom wasn't available in that way. And so it did a lot to me mentally. And when I say a lot to me mentally, it just didn't, I never felt safe. So when I would go to these doctors and try to get help, they would always want to put me on pills.
Of course. It's the elective
painkillers. So here I am trying to finish college, trying to live my life. And I'm like not feeling clear. And I was just like, enough is enough. I had a boss of mine. I was working at Fraser's at the time, and he is who introduced me to yoga. And once I found yoga to give me that sense of safety and support and trusting myself, and being with myself, I don't feel alone. But for the longest time I did, I think given childhood trauma, it made me I didn't take the pills anymore. I didn't want to take them anyway. They always made me feel hungover, and I didn't even get to go out and party and have fun and feel hungover. I just, there was always this, I felt lethargic. I felt very ungrounded. But once I found yoga, and I ate and I showed up and I practiced, because you can't just show up to one class and be like, okay, I'm fixed. It's a maintenance. It is a practice. Life's going to keep happening to us, and so instead of going and meeting my friends and drinking or doing this, I would go show up to my mat. And then everything that, was bothering me, whether it was physical, mental, emotional, I would be with it and just be like, okay, how am I going to approach this? And I would figure out ways to make it work. And so mentally, it was my therapy. It was my therapy.
Wonderful.
I didn't need to go talk it out with somebody, which that's a great thing, and that works for a lot of people. But for myself, I needed to figure out within myself, because that's all I've really ever known.
What a great testimony. This is great.
And granted, I get ideas and help from people. Being able to receive and ask for help is such a beautiful thing. That sometimes people's pride won't let them do. But at that point, I was like, what do I have to lose? So anyway, it's my mental therapy, it's my physical therapy, and it's just helped me find balance.
Now I have a thought-provoking question for you. So now you're stunningly beautiful at 51 years old, but how would 20-year-old Annie describe yoga compared to Annie of today? Can you even imagine Annie in her prime?
I'll have to show you a picture sometime. It was quite different, because
Tell me about it.
So my practice has shifted a lot. I used to do, bird of paradise all the time, headstands, handstands. Now I will say, when I first got into yoga, I couldn't do any of that. I worked on that. And once I was, in my late 20s, early 30s, that was like my jam, Ashtavakasana, all of those things. I did that all the time, and I liked it.
At the gym, we have the ego lifting, but when you're a young man or a young woman, you can also ego yogiing, right?
Right.
You just want to do it to show off and to prove your worthiness and how good, where you can get.
Right. And for myself, for my own discipline to show up and keep practicing and, test my skills physically through asana. But as time has moved on and my body is shifting, and granted, let me just clarify, even when I did those postures, I still couldn't do Ashtavakrasana on the left side. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
It's good to give the actual English name.
Yeah, so I think it's eight angle man.
Okay.
I couldn't demonstrate it, but it's basically where you have your legs out to the side, and it's an arm balance, but legs are crossed out to the side, leaning forward. So I worked up to those postures, and I was proud of myself for doing that. But my physical body always had limitations, but I worked through them and I dealt with it. And I would have to decide in my head, is it my ego that's wanting me to do this? Or is it just that I'm physically learning to be capable of this, or, you know, but also like deal with what I couldn't do. But as time has gone on, 2 children, aging, gravity, I can't do those things. Some things I can still do, but a lot of them I can't. And so what's even more important to me at this point is yielding and taking a step back.
Yes.
Sure, I can demonstrate some stuff, but my shoulders will hurt afterwards. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I used to do full wheel all the time. Well, if you're walking with 2 legs, different lengths, your shoulders are a little, I've had shoulder surgery because of that. And so anyway, what the practice...
excuse me, I wanted to ask you, this is interesting for my audience, is that, you know, always, because I'm a heavy explorer of human behavior and consciousness, and I love to dig into why people do things and why people don't do things. So my question is, when you were in your 20s and 30s, you know, there's a time where the looks are important. The way you look, to get some social validation, to get approval, to get, you know, the feedback from the outer world, right? And with aging and maturity, emotional maturity, you realize that everything starts from within, and you want to keep your body functional for the long haul. Right. So when did you ever catch yourself telling yourself, oh, I'm just showing off here, I'm just trying to validate myself through the approval of others?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it was at that time when I was able to do some of those poses. And I felt, you know, like, oh yeah, but then I would still catch myself and I'm like, wait, if I do it, you know, like with my friends, I'd be like, oh, party trick, you know, like, let me show you what I learned. I did catch myself doing that. And that's, you know, the thing is, we have to fall out of balance to get back up and try again and find balance. The more we live our lives, the more authentic we are.
Yes.
So yes, that definitely had happened before. But, you know, as time has gone on, functional movement, those are key words. I want to be able to move functionally with as least amount of pain as possible, as long as possible. And so at this point, like I said, you know, I hike.
Yes.
I do yoga. Walking. I'd rather hike than walk, to be honest. Swimming is really good. I love swimming, but it's even in the yoga practice, my yoga is not about the asana anymore. And as we all know, asanas are like 1/8 of the practice. It's about moving the body, trusting myself, having the courage to do what I need to do, and then guiding as a teacher, guiding others to do the same. Because a person may look like an able-bodied human being, and they're very capable of many things, but it's not always what we think, you know. So they may have some internal things. Many of us have many internal things happening.
Yoga is also, in many ways, the enjoyment of the now moment, right? When you are on the yoga mat, I often say that you know, you want to release the past, letting go of the past. Letting go is a big word, a big buzzword. And transcend the anticipation of the future, so that you can be deeply enjoying and appreciating the here and now. So that's so between your 20s and your 50, you know, you have enjoyed a series of now moments. You're going back over and over on the mat, because the yoga mat was your medicine. It was your form of movement therapy. Oh my goodness, that's all good. Something dropped, don't worry about it.
I thought something popped for a second. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, and as a matter of fact, I named my Monday class Monday Medicine because that is a class that offers breath, challenging movement.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe some not so challenging movement. Maybe stillness. Stillness is really challenging for a lot of people.
Yes.
Moving into stillness. So what one person's medicine is, not this other person's medicine. And so to show up on your mat and find your path is key.
Yep.
Also, depending on your mood and what you're experiencing in life at that time.
Correct.
So
now, let's talk about, how would somebody that is new to yoga, how do you approach teaching someone, for example, who is intimidated by stepping into an environment where, I wouldn't say everybody, but most people are physically fit, right? So someone who fears their own body, they're feeling a little uncomfortable by placing themselves in a situation where they have to confront their fears, number one, and transcend the fear of being judged, right? Or the good or bad opinion of others. What do you say?
So I can say, as the owner of the studio, people reach out to me often via email or phone calls, and there's a lot of people that feel very uncomfortable in their body. Even people that are in these, bodies that we might look at and think, oh, I wish I had a body like that. A lot of people, for various reasons, don't feel comfortable in their own skin. So one, you're not alone. If you feel that way, you're not alone. There's a lot of people, given various circumstances, they don't feel comfortable in their body.
Yes.
That's two, why I take pride in all of the teachers that we have here. I really try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Enforce, if that's the word. But just reminding people that it's okay if they're not doing this or that.
This is a no judgment zone.
No judgment zone. And if you're looking at others, just catch yourself and be like, wait, I'm a different person than they are.
Yes.
Yeah, enforce is not the word, but anyway, it's just, I really want this place to be a place that welcomes every single person, and you're not alone. Sometimes when I show up or other teachers show up, we don't feel comfortable. And there's been times where I've been to a class where I've shown up and I've shed a tear and said, we're here to hold space for each other. And we're doing the best that we can, and that's all that we can do. And here's the thing, when someone else realizes, wow, they're vulnerable, that gives permission for the other person that's feeling so uncomfortable to be vulnerable and relax and truly let go of that inhibition that they feel.
Yep, absolutely.
Because we all are like that.
Of course. We all walk in the same path.
Yeah.
We all have 100 years of best to live. The way that I personally solve the fear of being judged is, I put it a little more bluntly by saying that nobody really truly cares enough about you because they themselves are too busy being worried about what they think you're thinking of them.
Right. That's a lot of thinking.
There's a lot of thinking, exactly.
Just feel it out. Do what you need to do. Yeah.
So now let's talk about, let's switch gears. Now, you have created this wonderful space that I'm so grateful for.
Thank you.
And, it's very close to where I live. And but let's talk about the Blue Sky journey. What inspired the name Blue Sky Yoga? So
my favorite color is blue. When I look at a blue sky, I feel a sense of hope. I feel clarity. I feel like, it's going to be a good day.
I can see clearly now. Yes. Gotcha. Yes.
And to be honest, my grandpa, who was kind of like my father growing up in a way, I have a great relationship with my father. So I know I keep talking about that, or I've said it a couple times. I was reintroduced to him when I was 13.
Oh.
And he is awesome. He lives in Colorado. He's a great guy. But my grandfather was kind of like my father growing up. And he used to sing a song to me called "There's a Blue Sky Way Up Yonder." Oh. I won't sing it. I will spare you spare you my...
I can put the link of YouTube, the song in the
I don't know if it's one my grandpa made up or what, but anyway, it gave me a sense of like safety, and it just gave me a sense of hope. And so I thought that would be a great thing to name a yoga studio, because what I want to offer is a sense of safety,
of course,
hope for people.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that was your deepest intention at the time, right, when you opened the studio. But I've heard since when I moved to St. Louis from Colorado. I came from Fort Collins, which is considered one of the meccas of the holistic approaches to healing, including yoga. What challenge did you face as a studio owner in the early years? But I want to specify, I've heard that St. Louis, even though it's considered one city, it is made out of dozens of micro realities or micro communities. You have a struggling North City, for example.
Right.
You have a very affluent West County.
Right.
You have a middle class South City. So how did you position yourself in the specific marketplace, and what were the challenges at the time?
So I positioned myself with convenience.
And you're a real estate agent, so you know all about the territories of St. Louis.
Yeah, and I wish I could say that I spent a lot of time researching and this and that. No, that is not the case. This was a place that was by my house. It happened to be for rent. I used to come here with my kids. It was a resale shop.
Oh, okay.
And it was just something that it unfolded.
Interesting.
And spontaneously, I called. It was for rent. We worked it out. My husband, my friends, my brother came and helped me lay the floors down. Yes. I mean, it just was kind of like, my aunt helped me, make some choices. Like, it wasn't like I did all of this research. It unfolded naturally. Absolutely. It was very organic. Yeah. But some of the challenges were just, finding software that worked for me, being able to afford everything. I was scared, and I was very nervous about retaining business, people coming back, and it just kept happening organically. And even still to this day, when a teacher has to give up a class because they're moving or they're having a baby or whatever, I'm like, oh, we have this established thing, but then I have to stop and not move from a place of fear, which I'm so used to doing because my whole life I was afraid of doing things. And then I'm like, wait, no, if I just trust the process and believe, amen, and manifest, and just it's uncertain and it's scary, but it usually works out,
Absolutely. All you have to do is open the space, and then the universe will fill it. I told you this many times. Spontaneously, people will come around you because spaces like this are very precious, and you offer a variety of styles, workshops, sound baths, movement dance classes. You even offered. My son came to do the capoeira, the family capoeira, which was so fun. Yes, yeah, and so it's amazing how you have incorporated so much diversity in your offerings, which is wonderful. So, number one, what has been your proudest moment as an owner? I mean, you went through the pandemic, right? Everybody went through the pandemic.
Yeah, I sat in here by myself recording classes, and then when we were able to let people back in, we had to have tape on the floor that indicated 6 feet apart to put the mats down. That was probably the most challenging time, because I really was like, wow, are we going to be able to stay open?
And the rent payment kept coming, right, regardless of the pandemic. Right.
Yeah. And then I started to do, before that, I started to do outdoor classes because I had so many people that just wanted to get out. And then I had a lady that lived across the street from the park who came running out, waving a flag or something. And she had her face covered, and she was saying that we were doing illegal things. We shouldn't be that close together in a park, which we were all spread out. So that was a bit of a challenging time too, because then everybody was like, well, Annie did this and Annie did that. And I'm like, Annie was just trying to get some people together to do some yoga in the park. Anyway,
let me ask you,
the most challenging thing is people's idea of what's right and
Yes,
wrong.
I understand. Because we all have an ego to defend, right? We all have a perception of what the work, the model of the work, how it should look like or not should look like.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. In fact, we'll get to certain questions later that are more thought-provoking about that. I'm also very much interested in growing your business and growing my business as a massage therapist. But just one more question about the Blue Sky Journey. What is your long-term vision for the studio? As you know, we live in a time in human history that is kind of unprecedented. We're globally interconnected at a click of a fingertip. We have technology so advanced these days. We have this microcomputer called our smartphone, where you have access to everybody just like by clicking a button. You have booking software. You use Mind, Body, and Mind. And so it's never been such a great time to be an entrepreneur, right? So for you, what is your long-term vision for the studio? Taking advantage of, community, family, technology. Have you ever had a vision in your vision board?
My vision is to keep it simple. My vision is to keep it simple.
Good job.
I love that technology can do so much for us, and I appreciate what it can do for us. But I also feel that it creates a bit of a separation for young adults. I notice that people don't make eye contact as much as they used to. People stay inside a lot. They're on their technology, their phones or their devices a lot, and that does scare me a little bit. And I want to not move from a place of fear. And so I don't want to move.
This has become the new posture of the modern society.
And I noticed that
within the phone or tablet.
For people to be able to look others in the eye. Hey, how are you? Good. I want that to keep happening. Beautiful. So to be honest, I'm not, I'm going to stay just how I am.
Absolutely. And
I want people to come to the studio because more than your practice on the mat, which is beautiful, you interact with others. You find people that are maybe going through the same thing you're going through or have done it before, or you never know the kind of, the kind of conversations that you might find yourself in.
Correct.
And again, everybody likes to go out to eat and drink and happy hour it up and, all that. And I love that. I love music. I love food. I love wine. I love it all. But to spend time at a place like this that's the best.
Absolutely.
And so
there's nothing that can replace human flesh anyway.
No. So my vision is to just to keep doing what I'm doing. And as long as people keep coming, then I can still be here. I mean, that's it. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Great. And, you don't use, you have a very simple structure here. You invite people that are, you do your own talent acquisition. You find the individuals that have great potential. I can mention Nicole Fuller, which I adore. She's amazing.
I know.
And Claire Bierbauer, Kundalini yoga teacher. Maximus Dattoli just came on my channel the other day. So proud of the people that you're employing as independent contractors. You also started the series at the Four Seasons Hotel, right? Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. from April or from May to September.
Yep. Well, actually, we did it through October this year, and we had really good weather. But always on the rooftop.
Yes, and there's a juice bar. People can hang out after.
Yep.
What a great idea. What a great concept.
Yep.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So now let's talk about something a little deeper. So each one of us, were brought up with a sense of connection with divinity, either through religion, because they were taught to perform certain rituals or go to church on Sundays or whatever your denomination was. For me, for example, I grew up in Italy. I moved here when I was 26. So I didn't have many other options. I was either Catholic or Catholic.
Right.
And I noticed that in St. Louis, there is a strong Christianity community.
Yes.
A strong Christian community. So now, at this stage, once you have discovered yoga, you have also studied a little bit of the Eastern philosophies, right? So you have viewed more than one approach to the divine.
Yes.
Correct? So how do you define your spirituality today, and what is your daily connection with Source? What does it look like today? And how do you incorporate it with yoga specifically?
I pray every single morning when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I hold a rose quartz stone in my hand, and I feel what I feel, which is love. And I talk to the people that have passed already, my grandparents, my uncles, multiple friends, and I just ask Source, and I say out loud, God, Allah, Buddha, the archangels, grandpa, grandma, like I say it, whoever is listening, because I don't know the truth. I know what I feel, and I know that I feel love, and I feel a higher power. And I feel that when I look in the sunset, and when I look at the ocean, and when I see mountains, and when I see acts of kindness from friends, from family, from strangers, I know what God is, and I know what love is. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's right or wrong.
Right.
And I don't care, because that's their journey. But I know that there's something higher than me. And when I say higher, I don't think that they're up there like, I'm higher than you, but they've got a greater power. Whoever they are, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, nobody has an answer.
No, but I do know that, yes, I've studied different, backgrounds, and people believe different things.
Yeah,
and I'm not a person to say you're right or you're wrong.
Right.
But I respect what you believe, as long as it is not harming someone else and it's bringing them a sense of contentment and happiness, then I am there. So what spirituality looks like to me is having something to believe in that is yourself, but greater.
So you see life as a subjective experience. You see God within yourself. When you close your eyes and you meditate, you zone out from the outer world, right? So you see God within yourself, and how has that helped you to transcend the illusion of separateness? God is an individualized expression in each and every one of us, right? So when you, during your yoga practice and over the years, how does that understanding has shaped your relationship with yourself, right, and the way that you show up for others?
Yeah. So when I'm on my yoga mat, I'm connecting with myself.
Yes.
And sometimes at the end or even in the beginning, I'll just bring myself in, and I'll hear myself talking, communicating with higher power or my higher self.
So the voice is channeling through you?
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe so. What was your question again?
Well, my question is, how do you feel God mostly in your body, and how does it expresses itself or herself, or however we can conceptualize it? The way that I conceptualize it, it's more in line with the teachings of Dr. David Hawkins, the author of Power versus Force, Letting Go the Pathway of Surrender. He describes it as a field, the powerful field out of which potentiality becomes spontaneously an actuality. It is a field that is constantly present. We can all tap into it at any moment in time. And it's got no time, no space. And it's infinite and endless. And so,
well, and that's the key is, I'll say, like on my mat or in my car, or if I get news that's scary, or instinctually I'll want to freak out, or like get scared or get worked up. But through the practice, I've learned to just breathe through it and tap in as much as possible. Like, for example, when this might sound silly, this is very small compared to world situations, but with my massage licensing that I just took the test.
We'll
I studied and studied, but tapped into doing my best and believing, rather than moving from a place of fear under any circumstances, trying to move from a place of love.
Good.
I mean, that's all it is.
That's the whole journey
Yeah.
of consciousness evolution, is
Yes.
to move into a space where we can transcend fear in ever more challenging circumstances.
Yeah.
That's been my...
I mean, when you look at so many of the things people are fighting about, it's like they're fighting to be right.
I know.
But if you just, who's right? Really? Does any human being on this planet, do we have the validation to say, I am right? You know, and if you're trying so hard to prove that, then my question is, what is your intention? Why do you need everybody to know how right you are, unless you're going to save the world?
You can only understand God through a conceptual awareness. You cannot prove the existence. Right. So all you can do is surrender.
Right.
Ultimately, it's a pathway towards surrender to a higher power that loves us.
Right.
So, in fact, what is your personal definition of surrender? You know, in yoga, often at Shavasana at the end, we talk about, you know, this stillness, releasing the fight or flight response, moving from the yang to the yin.
Yes.
Right. So what is surrender for you?
I mean, surrender is letting go of the control, the need, the gripping, the clinging, the expected outcome of anything. You know, you want a friend to invite you here, or you expect your mom to call you and, you know, I don't know, whatever it might be.
So releasing expectations?
Releasing expectations, which might sound like, well, you've got to have expectations. Yeah, you do in some circumstances, but we suffer as humanity because of all of these expectations.
From unmet expectations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so surrender is, if this guy's going to do this and this person's not going to do this, go ahead, get yourself worked up about it, but you're the one that's going to suffer.
100%. I remember a good definition of fear from Dr. I just reminded myself of, have you ever heard of Neil Donald Walsh? He was the author of Conversations with God. He's also sold a lot of books. They even did a documentary about his life. Anyway, so he has this beautiful acronym for fear, and that is feeling excited and ready. You know, when you can transcend, you can look at your fears, any kind of fear, including the fear of death, which is, you know, the ultimate fear that most of us has. And once you transcend that, all the other fears collapse, typically. But once you let go of your fears, then life becomes a very fun and joyful experience. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
All the best trips or things that you've done included the letting go of your fears, your inner fears, correct?
Yes, most definitely.
Right. You've offered some retreats, some yoga retreats, right? So we're Costa Rica.
Costa Rica,
yes. Are you offering one next year too?
I am going to. I'm working on a collaboration with Megan, not
big shout out to Megan. Ciao, Megan. I love you so much. She's so great.
I love her too. She makes all this beautiful jewelry that's behind us, and she keeps the studio so clean, and she's a great communicator.
And I told her that one of the things that I admire the most of her is that, you know, she can embody both the strength, physical strength, but also the humbleness and the softness of a flower. That's the most beautiful things to observe in such a person. So
she's great.
Yes. So you were saying that the first time you had to plan your first retreat, did you have to transcend the fear of not being good enough?
Yes, I did, with everything I do here. I have two paths I can go down, and I always get nervous. Even when I still teach a class, sometimes I get nervous.
Yes.
When we have our events here, I get nervous because I care. I want it to be good, but I have that expectation, and then I release it, and I just do my best.
Yes.
And it always works out. So with the Costa Rica retreats, I was like, I'm going to do my best. I know the place that I go that I love. I've been doing it for like 9 years now. I didn't do it last year. Yeah.
So you've been doing a retreat every year for 9 years?
Well, I went on a retreat at this place with some friends, and then I got to know the owner well. the two owners. The one has recently passed.
Sorry to hear that.
That's okay. He was a great human being. He actually did some breath work with me that have to whole nother story, but we'll have to do another interview sometime or something to talk about the breath work that I did that took me back to my coma, which was really healing. But he is who helped me through that. But I just love the place so much. I've had so many good experiences there that I ended up going back to the same place every single year. And last year I took a break because the weather has shifted there a little bit. So the rainy season has been lasting a little bit longer. And I like to go then because it gave a little bit of a cool stretch of the day that you could nap or whatever in. But it did rain a lot this last time we went. So I'm just shifting gears with when we're going to go.
And you also offer yoga teacher trainings here at Blue Sky, right?
Yes.
You're just in the middle of one right now, correct?
Yes. Hannah White, who I also love so much, just had a baby. She is the person that I collaborate with for that. It's an amazing training.
She's also a fellow massage therapist as well.
She is, and a teacher here, and lives in the neighborhood, and I just absolutely love her. She's wonderful to work with. I
will make sure to include all the description of your offerings, including the yoga teacher training that you offer here. Now let's switch gears. I have a few more things that I really want to go over before we end this beautiful interview. Number one, this part is about social justice, inclusivity, and community care. We talk about community so much, and you have created such a welcoming space. So what does inclusivity mean to you in a yoga space? And kind of next to that, how do you hold space for example, LGBTQ students in a meaningful way?
So to answer that question simply, treat everyone the same. Everyone matters.
Right.
Everyone has a place in a yoga studio. Treating everyone like they matter, giving them the space to express themselves, holding space for them, for one another.
Right.
Everyone matters.
Absolutely.
So you had asked a question about like my vision for Blue Sky or all the different offerings. I don't think one is better than the other. Even if there's something different that someone's offering and only 2 people are signed up, probably we'll lose money, but I'm not going to say, no, let's not do that. I respect the teacher. But I don't have a big policy around that. Everyone is the same and everyone matters. And what you're offering matters. Again, unless you're doing something that is harming this space or people that come here, then you matter. We all matter.
We all matter.
We all matter.
100%.
Yeah.
And again, especially, when we talk about LGBTQ students, this has something to do with their sexual identity or sexuality expression, what has absolutely not relevant to the practice of yoga here, right? So it shouldn't be a relevant portion of your thinking.
I just welcome everyone. If you want to come and support Blue Sky and support yourself, you are making a huge contribution to the world. Because one, supporting yourself, starting there, when we can regulate our nervous systems and take care of ourselves, regardless of who you are, what your name is, what your sexual background is, whatever you are making a contribution to the world by simply supporting your nervous system and your body.
Right.
Because the more we can do that, the more we can be there for one another. And then also by coming here and not just doing some app, which I know you're supporting a small local business, which we couldn't be here without the support of people showing up. And to have others that you connect with, regardless of who you are, is such a beautiful thing. I mean, great. We're all different, so we all help each other in different ways. But if we weren't here, we couldn't do that.
Correct.
And so that's why I would never say this person means more than this person.
Right.
Because
of course. And what I often go back to is ask your heart. the heart often will give you the answers depending on your level of consciousness. It will tell you yes or not yes. Am I thinking or am I rejecting somebody else's model of the world because I'm fearing that person, I'm fearing that framework? And if you're coming from a place of love, I often say that we can imagine ourselves as we are an electromagnetic field, and that field attracts to us that which is of our own level of consciousness. If I'm operating from a place of love, you will always you would see no separation. You will see no diversity.
Right.
You are not going to see black and white. You're not going to see man and woman. You're not going to see rich or poor.
Right. Which I love that because yes, there are men and women. There are black and white. There are all that. And it's not like I'm not seeing that. I recognize everyone's individuality. Right. But to your point, if you love the same, you love.
Correct.
I just covered my microphone.
Resonates as true.
Yes. And another thing that you said that I just want to bring some light to is you said your level of consciousness.
Sure.
We have different levels of consciousness. My consciousness level is much different than it was when I was 19 years old.
Of course.
I sense
there's a natural progression, evolution.
What you're exposed to, who, and again, when you're not exposing yourself, and I mean to different circumstances, different people, different groups of people, how will you know?
Yes.
Your level of consciousness grows. And so again, when you see someone acting out of fear to reprimand them and make them feel bad or shameful for something, that's not helping raise their level of consciousness. Right. But if you can show up with love, even though you disagree or, whatever it is, but to be able to help raise their level of consciousness and find expansion and ways to grow is just, I always say here in yoga, we expand our levels of consciousness one breath at a time. Yes. So raising the level of consciousness one breath at a time is on our website. And that's key. Just showing up by yourself, granted, you could do that, but you're expanding your circle of knowledge and groups and people and ways of showing up in the world by being around others.
Absolutely. And especially, well said.
Thanks.
When you essentially, just by placing your body in proximity of an energy field that radiates the frequency of love, you automatically get entrained into it. Right. You get essentially imbued into the polarity, into the beautiful energy field that we can all tap into, and that is the energy frequency of love.
Yes.
And so even if you're carrying around negativity, if you're carrying around, anxiety, fear, anger, frustration, and even your own sense of pride, which sometimes can be destructive, just by placing your body within a collective consciousness, such as a yoga class, which is so beautiful, that experience alone can be transformative. And that's why, personally, I kept coming back, not just here, but just everywhere the yoga is practiced. Yeah. And that's the reason why I chose to call my business Yogaphora.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now let's talk about, this is something important because, I'm a male massage therapist. I'm also a male yoga instructor, which essentially places me in a little bit of a minority in this field, in this marketplace. It's just factual, statistically. So I want to ask you, well, first of all, let's talk about the masculine and the feminine integration. So if you could describe masculine and feminine energies, would you be able to? Because, we can embody both in within one body, right? There is, we have predominant characteristics that express themselves in feminine form or in masculine form. Now,
the yin and the yang.
Yes.
How would I, so.
Well, let's talk about feminine first, right? Because you identify as a woman, right?
Yeah.
You are a she. And so how has your feminine energy been expressed and maybe changed across your life? You also live with, you have a husband, so you're in the presence of a masculine guy.
Yeah.
You also have a boy who's growing up, is wonderful, handsome. He's a soccer player, right?
He is, yes. Adam and Mike, and my Hannah. I have Hannah also. I will say this. I have feminine energy.
Sure.
Tends to be a little softer, tends to be a little more nurturing.
Yes.
Tends to be a little, I'm going to take it on a limb here, but just a little deeper, little, I like in my house, in my sphere. Okay.
Yes. Of influence. Yes.
Of influence. That's what it tends to be, or that's what you would think. But I will say that I have a masculine side too. I like, I'm not afraid to pick up things and move them. I'm not afraid to say the truth. I used to be a little more like, I would try to be like, oh, but now I'm like, no, I'm okay to stick with boundaries and speak my truth clearly and concisely. So with what I have experienced, and, I also had to not raise myself, but I had to take care of some things on my own as I've grown up. So I didn't really grow up with a father in my life. So it's interesting to hear.
Traditionally, the father figure back in the days when we grew up in our generation, the man was the guy that would, wear the pants and that would, apply change. It was also the person that will control finances or it would have the majority of the decision making process in a family unit. Right. But now things are changing a little bit these days, right?
Well, and my mom did all of that.
Yes.
And, my friends would be like, oh, I'm going to ask my dad to put my dresser together or, whatever it is. I don't know. But I'd be like, oh, me and my mom are doing that, or me and my friend Kim are doing that. And so I always have had a little bit of a sense of like, hey, we need a weather strip here. Have we turned off the water for the winter? Let's get the new furnace filters in. Like I have that as well. And I don't, I don't consider that masculine, even though in society it is. They are maintenance. Okay. So just like our houses need maintenance, our refrigerators need to be cleaned out, cars need to be taken care of. I'm not afraid of that. Yes. You know what I mean? And so
taking care of the practical side.
But that's how, yoga is like that too. Our bodies, our hearts, our minds need maintenance on the daily.
Of course.
And so maybe it's the way I've been brought into this world with the masculine, feminine difference that has made me love yoga too. I don't know. But that's just my experience. Right, everyone's experience is different. But when people come in, I don't know, just by looking at them, I don't know. You can usually tell people that come in with tense or somebody that's like thinks they're masculine or, whatever, but I don't really.
Well, I wanted to ask you, so what happens when one energy dominates too strongly? For example, how does your masculine energy shows up in your own version of leadership? I mean, you're a business owner, right? So you're the queen bee of Blue Sky Yoga Studio. Everybody knows suddenly that you are the head boss in charge.
Yeah.
Right? So.
But I really think of this as a collective because everyone helps me so much.
Yes.
Granted, yes, I do own the studio.
Yes.
And there's been times that I've had to be like, hey, I'm sorry, this teacher is sick, or I'm sorry, I will give you a refund, or, whatever it is. No, you've signed up and canceled 20 times, I don't know. Yeah, I've had to make some decisions 100%.
Yes.
And I'm thankful that I have the courage and the strength to do that, because running a business is not easy.
It's not easy at all.
It's a labor of love. It really is.
I believe that 100%.
But I'm grateful for the students that catch things, the teachers that catch things. I mean, it takes a village to do it.
So, I would love for you to maybe explain what does healthy feminine energy look like to you, and on the flip side, or right next to it, what does empowered masculine energy look like? Right. So finding the good balance between both, embodying both.
That's the answer to the question. If you ask me, the balance between the two. I'm not afraid to, express myself, cry, hug, soften, land.
How do you deal with disagreement then?
Clearly and concisely.
Hmm.
Clearly and concisely. Those are my words that I've said again and again, because there are things that come up and internally I might react, and then I'll listen and catch myself.
Yes.
And from a higher level of consciousness, I will externally express what I need to say or get across. And I also try to listen too. Like, I'm not just going to run at you. I want to know, but clearly and concisely.
Gotcha. You take some time to make big decisions. Like, if you need some time to reflect, you wait for the next day to get inspiration.
Yeah. But there are some things that I know too. Like, I treat all students equally too. Like, if we're doing a special, for, I don't know, let's just say, oh, okay, we're going to do this month for $70. Well, everybody that's on auto pay, if they're like, oh, we're paying $90 a month. I'm just throwing this out. Those aren't even the accurate prices. But, if one person were to reach out and say, well, if all these people are able to do it for $70 a month, but I'm on this and I committed to a year of it, can I do it? I would say yes, of course. Like, money is very important. Without the money, we couldn't run it. But that's not the number one. That's not
priority.
The number one priority. Yeah. Granted, I have to keep that high so that we can be here. Rent is high, all of that. But treating everyone fairly and making everyone feel welcomed is my priority.
I felt that the first day I met you and the first day I experienced, the policies and just the vibes. You can tell how a studio is run, and I can tell that your approach is heart-centered.
Heart-centered.
Heart-centered. Is not motivated by money alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, most men, I'm a man, and I transcended the fear of entering a space where it's primarily female dominated. But what do you think men especially need from yoga right now? I mean, I've seen your husband come into yoga, which is awesome.
He needs to come back. He was supposed to come back this week. He's busy with work. But, well, okay, to answer the question, I don't know. Every man is different. Okay, so for me to sit here and say what I think men need from yoga, they know what they need. Some of them don't know. Some of them don't want to slow down enough, but I don't just mean men, people in general. They're like, well, sometimes I get bored, or sometimes I'm I'm busy. I got to do this and that. Slowing down, checking in. Yoga's not slow always. Some of it can be. The centering in the beginning, maybe the savasana at the end, but it's a little bit of everything. And in my opinion, life is not about a race, but slow and steady kind of wins the race. That's cliche. Slow and steady. Consistency. We're not winning the race, but for the functionality of our body. Like, people are going to the gym, they're boxing, they're doing all that. Good luck with your shoulders in 20 years, right? I mean, boxing's great, but that's impact.
Sure.
It's impact. So functional movement when you're 51, after you've been boxing, taking a lot of impact. Same with running. Running is great. But ask a person that's run all these years.
But let me
How are their knees? How are their hips doing?
Let's chunk it down. Let's check it down to something real, because I'm a man and I can see the reality through the lens of a man. Right, so I kind of empathize with my fellow men practitioners that want to approach the field, but they still feeling a little intimidated.
By what? Showing up to class?
No. It's from what they see. What we see from the man point of view is that majority of the class is women. Most of them are wearing some very tight-fitting athletic pants. Yeah. So it is essentially one of the very few socially accepted spaces within any community, not just here in St. Louis, where you can have access to viewing all this beauty. Before, back in the days, in their 50s, women had to be dressed, as with the skirts up to the ankle. Right. So we have experienced just recently, within the last 20 years, a dramatic shift in the acceptance of this practice. Right. So how would you, a beautiful woman, business owner, to encourage men to release that fear and to welcome them as well? How would you desexualize the experience so that more men are showing up.
Yeah. To come into the space with a sense of welcoming themselves and just preparing that, there's going to be women that dress in clothes like this simply because it's easier to move that way.
Yes.
Some men do too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
it's the fear of being perceived as creepy.
Yeah.
Is one of them.
Yeah. Come in with that sense, because most of the women that come to class, they're here, or in my mind, everyone that comes to class comes for their practice.
Correct.
And the practice might be grieving
right.
of a loss, being vulnerable.
Sure.
And the men might find that also. I'm sure they do. I know. I mean,
of course.
I know they do. Like
I don't. Yes.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just like, to me, I think it's within anyone, and not just the men, anyone themselves, to let go of that sense, that stigmatism of being creepy, And if you're coming to a yoga class to be creepy, please don't come. I mean, I'm just saying, come to yoga for yourself.
Yes.
Go somewhere else if you're trying to pick up people.
Good. That's a great message.
That's just a great,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that, Amy.
Yeah.
I think that creating a healthy therapeutic environment is of paramount importance. And we should clarify that, especially as you're also a body worker, right? You just became a licensed massage therapist.
Yes.
Right? So you just went through massage therapy school, which is another trust-based profession.
Yes.
Right? Where else would you find yourself, either as a patient or as a client, undressing yourself in the presence of somebody who might be the opposite gender, right?
Right.
So trust is paramount. Trust is everything for your reputation, for your community building.
Right.
So number one, let's switch to your experience, getting into massage therapy. So what inspired you to pursue massage therapy so many years into your yoga career?
I think they go hand in hand. And I have received massage forever. And I just feel like functionally moving in my body as I age, the massage has helped immensely. I couldn't just do massage. I couldn't just receive massage and not do yoga and move functionally. I could probably do yoga and not receive massage and move functionally, but the massage is key for me. They go hand in hand.
Great.
And I have received enough massages that are good, that I love, that I've learned from, but I've also received enough that are bad that I'm like, okay, I know it can be better. And so I've taken what I've learned and I'm offering what I want to offer. And I just want to help people.
Yes.
I just want to help people.
Of course.
And there's techniques, using your own body weight, traction, so many wonderful ways to help just relieve tension and stress and get people to breathe and be okay with trusting themselves so that they can show up in the world, show up to yoga classes, show up to just life in general and feel a little more calm in their nervous system.
So just like yoga, massage is not a luxury, right?
Right.
It is a good wellness regime that you build for yourself.
Right.
It's part of your self-care regime.
It's part of my self-care. I don't get, I don't get nails done. There's a lot of things I don't do.
Right.
So that I can do yoga and can receive massage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about, your
prioritizing things.
Yes, of course. So we all have different thermometers on how to manage our time and money, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. What is your philosophy on therapeutic presence? How do you hold space for your massage clients now that you've been through, through your time at the gathering place?
Yeah. It's all about intention.
Yeah.
It's all about intention. How do I hold space for them? It's literally it's hard to put into words, but when I'm there as if I was about to lead a yoga class, or even, get in my own practice for that matter, it's about breathing.
Yep.
It's about just intention. I might be worried about, who knows what that list is. There's always something, like we had said, life keeps happening, but to separate, let go of that for now.
Yes.
Recognizing that in the next hour, whatever it is, I'm not changing anything, but I'm giving my attention and energy exchange to them. And it's not like I'm giving them my energy, but it does take energy to offer a massage to someone. And so just letting my own things go and sending love, sending love to people. And you can feel when a person's body is tense and they're nervous or when they're not. And so just holding space for them to feel safe in their own skin.
It takes time to establish a therapeutic relationship and loyalty and trust between two individuals. I have, in my experience as a body worker for 20 years and a member of the American Massage Therapist, I have heard about the concept of transference and counter-transference.
Yep.
How many times people have reported bad experiences in massage because the therapist himself or herself has transferred all the bad shit and all the negativity onto the client, which is the very opposite of what you want to accomplish in a session. So guarding your negativity and releasing it prior to offering a session is very, very important.
Yeah. And that's why that key word, letting go, we say it as a buzzword, but to let go of your own stuff for just a little bit is really key, to just let go.
Yes. And so how do you maintain your own boundaries as a therapist?
How do I maintain my own boundaries as a therapist is to try to let...
Because obviously, I mean, you're a wonderful, good-looking person, and of course, in massages, a lot is about, interpreting or misinterpreting signals.
Right.
In our profession.
Just keep it very professional. I mean, just very professional.
Good.
And just, communicating clearly, keeping good boundaries. And just
and people can read body language, can read intentions.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you hope every client feels when they leave your table?
I want them to feel a sense of ease in their heart, their body, and their nervous system. And if they came in with specific, needs, whether it's like the neck or the shoulders, whatever, of course I spend more time on them, but I really listen. And like you said, pay attention to the body signals, the signals of the body, the breath. And I always end with some breath, just reminding them to breathe, because, sometimes people will start to talk or whatever. And I just say, take a few moments for yourself. And then just some Reiki, just some holding space for people.
Yes. I often say that the body is simply a tool, a bridge for the mind and the spirit, right?
Vehicle for the soul. That's always I always say a vehicle for the soul.
Yes. And the breath that we do, it is the vehicle. The breath, is what where we acquire and intake our prana, our chi, our life force.
Yeah.
But we as massage therapists and yoga instructors, we can only act as facilitators. We're not the healers themselves.
No.
Right.
We just hold space, but the people, the clients, whether it's students in yoga or on the massage table, they have the internal work to do.
Correct. It's a solo practice.
Yeah.
Of course. All right. So a couple more questions. And so what is bringing you joy in this current season? Starting from, how you learn from your children about presence and resilience. I watch my own son and I see reality through his lens and his curiosity and his sense of wonder. So what brings you joy these days?
My children bring me so much joy. Mike brings me joy. Seeing people taking care of themselves brings me joy. Seeing people come to the studio and just show up and talk and move and smile together, coming into community brings me joy. My kids bring me a lot of joy.
I bet. Thank you so much for sharing.
My friends bring me lots of joy.
And so what message would you give to someone who feels this day is broken, discouraged? How can your space can create this beautiful healing energy field, in this life that can be chaotic, right? We have, people still struggling with addictions, drugs, alcohol, and also, the stress of living, having to work the 9 to 5s and dealing with traffic and all the chaos.
What would I say to them?
Yes.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Breathe. Know you're not alone. Know there's a better way. And when I say better, it doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong, but there are other paths. We tend to get so fixated on our ways of being or ways people expect us to be. And just to keep looking, to keep going, keep searching.
Yes.
Because there's all types of ways to be in the world out there.
Wonderful.
And if one isn't working or causing stress, try something else.
Amen. I 100% agree with this, positive outlook and optimistic message. So, all right. So this is the final question for you.
Okay.
If your life were a message, would it be trying to teach the world?
What would it be trying to teach the world? That's a big question, Andrea.
Yeah, I know. I'm known for this deep question. I'm a big philosopher.
That let love lead the way.
Yay. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Let love lead the way. Because so many years of my life, I didn't feel safe. I felt a little scared. And I don't know that I thought that, but as I got older and realized how it felt to be free of fear, the difference that it makes. So I would say let love lead the way.
And when it comes to, this is one more question, side question.
You said that was the... No,
I'm sorry, but this is very important because it is part of being loving, being accepting, being tolerant, and being and in putting love into practice.
Yeah,
it has to do with forgiveness, right? How have you forgiven yourself, and how have you forgiven others in the day-to-day? Like, do you ever catch yourself where, hey, I should act more loving toward that person. I should let go of the negativity of the situation and the resentment that most people can hold for years, right? The grudge, as they call it, holding a grudge.
I happen to know some people that have a hard time, forgiving. I've seen it, and it breaks people.
It does.
It breaks people.
Yes.
So when you forgive someone, you actually, and I don't mean to do it from a place of selfishness, but when you forgive someone, you truly forgive someone, you're freeing yourself.
Beautiful.
I mean, you could roll through life being mad about things, but you could also look at them as like ways that maybe gave you a different perspective. And while it was hard to go through that, you're here now.
Yes.
And so forgiveness is very key in my life.
Have you ever experienced it during Shavasana, for example? During stillness.
Oh, yeah.
This breakthrough, this ha-ha moment comes to you to say, I should. This is the right thing to do. Coming from a place of love, if I do forgive, life is going to turn in such a better way.
Yeah. And speaking of other people that we forgive ourselves, right? Because I should have done this. I wish I would have stayed longer. I wish I would have said this. With my children when they were younger, there were things that I was like, oh, I missed this or I did this. What is that doing? Forgiving ourselves is really, really key.
Powerful.
And giving ourselves grace.
Beautiful. Giving ourselves grace with much love and much grace. Annie, thank you for sharing not just your story, but your heart, your resilience, vulnerability, and lived wisdom that you carry so humbly into your work and your community, our community, la nostra comunità, qui a St. Louis. Your journey from childhood trauma and to your embodied strength, from relearning how to walk to teaching others how to trust their bodies, from surviving to thriving, is a reminder that healing is not linear, it is sacred. Through your practice, your teaching, your massage therapy work, and the sanctuary you created at Blue Sky Yoga, you offer people not just movement, but meaning, not just breath, but belonging to a beautiful space, beautiful community. The wellness sanctuary, you know you're safe, you can always return to. Your story is a testament to what is possible when we choose presence over perfection, compassion over self-judgment, and connection over isolation. Connection over isolation. It has been an honor to sit with you, and I know your words today will continue to support anyone who's navigating pain, transition, or the path back to themselves. So thank you for the clarity, the honesty, and the hope you brought into this conversation.
Thank you.
Last question, how do we find you? How do people that do not know about the studio will be able to find you, and how do people book classes?
Well, we have an Instagram, blueskyyoga.stl.com, Facebook, blueskyyoga.stl.com, or at blueskyyoga.stl.com.
Yes.
That's the website. So blueskyyoga.stl.com is the website. So you can look on the website, all the information, the classes are listed. There's different pricing options. Instagram, Facebook.
And just everybody
stop
knows.
By.
Yes, stop by. Blue Sky is located at 3525 Watson Road. So check out the Facebook page, Blue Sky Yoga SDL, the Instagram page. And we look forward to seeing you on the mat soon. Until then, much health and much grace. Arrivederci. Thank you very much, Annie.
Thank you. It was good. Thank you very much.
And big thanks to Miss Anne, who made this beautiful biscotti. This is so delicious.
Thank you, Anne. That was perfect.